Hello everyone, and today we're counting down the top 10 most disappointing games through 2014 and the beginnings of 2015. Now these games weren't necessarily bad, they just didn't live up to the expectation. You know, it's like eating a Skittle that you think is going to be sweet but ends up being expired and it tastes all hard and bad. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to be counting down the top 10 most disappointing games through 2014 and the beginning of 2015. Sit back and enjoy. Coming in number 10, we have Evolve. Now, Evolve, again, isn't a bad game. The gameplay is actually quite fun, and you'll have some great times with your friends in lobbies trying to fight this awesome giant monster that you have to hunt. And also, playing as the monster isn't a bad idea as well. You get to go ahead and jump and destroy the other team, and the way that the monster moves and jumps is actually quite amusing. And the gameplay, again, is awesome. But the only thing that Evolve really didn't get right, or should I say Turtle Rock Studios didn't get right, was the way that they had to sell weapons and a bunch of DLC that wasn't supposed to be there. It should be free. That's what got people kind of angry, and that's why this game was disappointing. Also, the way that the team moved. If you didn't have a good team, you weren't going to get anywhere. So this was really repetitive, and it got to a point where after a few hours, you would put this game down and call it quits for the night. Again, Evolve wasn't that bad, just the way that they brought upon the DLC and made you pay for weapons was kind of unfair. It was more of a microtransaction kind of game, a pay to win, and players do not like that. So that's why I had to put it on this list as a number 10 spot. Coming in number 9, Titanfall. Now, Titanfall, again, is not a bad game. Just like Evolve, it didn't have enough content for it to be worth $60. What is Titanfall about? What's the campaign about? Again, I can't tell you because it didn't have enough content. It was more of a multiplayer-based game, and it didn't put enough detail and weaponry into one game for it to be a first-person shooter worth $60. Also, you would be going through the same games, the same things over and over again, which got way more repetitive than Call of Duty. This was supposed to be a Call of Duty breaker. It was supposed to kill Call of Duty, but it did not do that, and that's why it's on this list. There are no more Titanfall videos. You won't be seeing YouTubers put Titanfall videos up daily. It just didn't provide what gamers wanted to see in a first-person shooter. That's why it's on this list as a number 9 spot. Coming in at number 8 is the Order 1886. Now, the reason the Order 1886 is on this list is because the gameplay was very stale. The graphics on this on the PlayStation 4 were amazing. This is a PlayStation 4 exclusive. The graphics on it were beyond. It really shows the power of the PlayStation 4 and what the next gen consoles can do, but the gameplay was just not entertaining, and the cutscenes were very long. It was 3 hours of cutscenes and at least 3 hours of gameplay. The story also wasn't driven. You weren't driven to continue. You'll be putting this game down after 6 hours, I promise you, and that's why it is disappointing, and that's why it's on this list. Coming in at the number 7 mark is a game that a lot of people just really like to hate on, is Watch Dogs. Now, Watch Dogs, it's not a bad game. The gameplay on it was actually pretty good, and they did bring out the story, which a lot of companies fail to do nowadays. A lot of video game companies fail to bring out stories, which that's why I did like Watch Dogs, is because they brought out the story. They told you what it's about, and you can follow along. But the problem with Watch Dogs is it was so hyped up that people, when they got it, they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And the gameplay was also not top notch. It wasn't a bad gameplay, but it was not top notch. You'll be seeing yourself do the same thing, the same hacks, pushing the same buttons to get past the same missions, and it kind of got repetitive. That's why it's also on this list. Again, the story is beyond, and the graphics on this game on the next gen consoles are also amazing. So if you guys really want to see what your next gen console can do, you should be picking up Watch Dogs, but it's not worth $60. Coming in at the number 6 spot is Halo Master Chief Collection, an Xbox One exclusive. Of course it's an Xbox One exclusive, it's Halo. Now, the problem with Halo Master Chief Collection was the matchmaking wasn't up to its expectation. We would want to get into a game of Halo, but it would just take hours and hours to find someone. After a while, people gave up on the game and didn't pop it back into their disc tray. That's why this game really died, is because of its matchmaking on release. I don't really see anyone playing Master Chief Collection or any YouTubers making videos on it. That's why this game is on the list. It wasn't a bad game. The campaign was actually very entertaining, and seeing how well 343 made the game and how they revolutionized it since years ago, is really cool. So I wouldn't say it's a bad game, but the matchmaking on release made it what it is today, and that's why it is dead. Coming in at number 5, we have Elder Scrolls Online. Right now, Elder Scrolls Online is a PC exclusive, but it will be coming to consoles June if they don't push it back again. But the problem with Elder Scrolls Online is that you had to pay $15 for membership on top of the $60 that you have to pay for the game. Consumers didn't really like, so that's why this game didn't get the exposure it should have. The gameplay was also repetitive. You would be seeing yourself doing the same kind of missions, killing the same kind of mobs, sort of like Destiny, but don't worry, we'll get to Destiny in a minute. Again, what really killed this game was the $15 monthly price tag on top of the $60 that you had to pay for the game. But thank God they changed that with the new console versions. Now it's a free to play. You just pay the $60 and you can play all the Elder Scrolls Online you want without worrying about monthly fees. Coming in at number 4, The Crew. Now, The Crew, there's only one reason that this game was disappointing. The gameplay wasn't half bad. Well, if you could even get to the gameplay. The reason The Crew is on this list is because of one reason. The gameplay was actually quite well and the graphics were outstanding. But you cannot play the game because Ubisoft still hasn't fixed their servers. That is right. That's why this game is unplayable and broken, and that's why it's on this list for the most disappointing games of 2014 through 2015. Coming in at number 3 is Sims 4. Sims has been doing what a lot of video game companies have been doing lately. They withheld content for expansions later on. Now, the reason that this was bad is because they took out some things that were actually in Sims 3, the previous Sims before the Sims 4, and they added it in expansions and DLC, which they should already been in the game. If they're in the previous Sims, why not be in the new upgraded Sims 4? So this is why Sims 3 actually got a better review than Sims 4 did, and Sims 4 went down the drain as not having enough content for being worth $60. Coming in at number 2, Destiny. Now, Destiny isn't a bad game. Bungie did a great job. The graphics are outstanding and the soundtrack is music to my ears, literally. But what makes this game on the top 10 disappointing list? Well, it's repetitive. I'm talking one of the most repetitive games of all time. You will see yourself doing again the same missions over and over and over again. If you don't like grinding, you won't like Destiny. You would be getting the same loot and you'll be killing the same bosses at the exact same time, and they will be coming out with different DLC that should have already been in the game. Players have been complaining about Bungie's lack of effort to the game, and well, that's why we agree. And that's why we agree that this should be on the top 10 most disappointing list. Coming in at number 1, we have the most broken, the most disappointing game of 2014 through 2015, and that is Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, the only problem with Assassin's Creed Unity was that the game is unplayable. You will be getting a less than 30 frames per second on the next gen consoles. The PC can hardly run it, and it's not optimized for the PC well enough for you to play it, and it's still broken. Faces are flying off. Fucking faces! So that's it, guys. That's the top 10 most disappointing list. If I missed any games, be sure to leave me a comment. And if I've missed anything about these games that I have already mentioned that you guys want to leave a comment to, be sure to go ahead and leave me one. I love to read you guys' opinions on what I review. So go ahead and leave me a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.